Oh, David and I, anyone, have found one of the wigs, and we do have visual of one wiglet. I'm not sure how many wiglets Tess saw this morning, but we can only see one. But they are clambering around out away from the nest, which is obviously a little bit of concern as they start to explore their surroundings and do become a little bit more vulnerable. You can see the wiglet coming into view. There he is. We've got one wiglet perched on the bottom of the tree with either mum or dad, I'm not quite sure which, sitting above it, keeping a close eye. All fluffy. I was trying to work out how old they are. They must be about a month old, and so according to the literature they will leave the nest and start sort of clambering around after around about a month. They're very much exploring their surroundings, and they should stay in this area for the next sort of 2 or 3 months, maybe even up to 4 months before they actually disperse on their own and go and do their own thing. But I hope the other one is okay. But this one hasn't really moved since we've got here, so I'm hoping the other one is just maybe hidden behind this little sand bank on the banks of the Mulawati here. Oh, a couple of Jacobin's cuckoos just flew over as well. We need Levailant's cuckoo. We've got Jacobins this morning. The wiglet was also attracted by the movement there of the cuckoos. You can see all that fluffy downy feather. Ollie, you're right, it does look like a snowball. Yeah, a dirty snowball. You can see those very strong claws and feet. Those talons are going to be very important for catching rodents and things. I imagine those are razor sharp already. They do look grumpy there. Hey, look at that face. Why are you pointing a camera at me? Interesting, you can just see what looks like those little ear tufts that you get on the adults are just beginning to form. You can see those little fluffy bits on either side of the head, like the little beginnings of some horns there. Of course, those are not the ears. An owl's ears are sort of underneath the feathers on the sides of their head. And when we have a look at the adult again, you'll see the ear tufts on there, which are probably most likely to be used in terms of camouflage. It just breaks up the outline and makes you look less obviously like an owl. You went too high, Yuan. Come down a touch. Come down, down, down. There. There we are. Yeah, now you can see that ear tuft sort of blowing in the wind, sort of like devil horns sitting up there. But remember, their eyes are sort of, I suppose, next to their eyes. Their ears are sort of about parallel to the eyes, and you can see those facial discs, all designed to channel sound into those ears, and quite a sort of a sharp beak in terms of when you're looking at it straight on. That helps to split the sound and means that the sound hits those ears at minusculely different times, and that enables the owl to hunt in pretty much pitch darkness just by pinpointing in on a rustle. They can almost form a sort of a three-dimensional map of whatever it is that they can hear, and they can hunt very effectively in complete darkness. Remember, they don't have that reflective layer that some nocturnal birds have, where you see the eye shine from the spotlight. They don't have that tapetum lucidium. They've got massive tubular eyes, which means they can't move their eyes in their sockets. And as Andrew was saying, that allows the owl to turn their head in excess of 270 degrees, thanks to some very interesting adaptations in its neck, arteries being slightly bigger at the top of the brain, which potentially enables blood to be pooled there in case it gets cut off. And also the holes in the vertebrae that the arteries move through are much, much bigger than in other animals and other birds, which just gives them a little bit more flex. And we think that those big holes are also filled with sort of air pockets that act like sort of cushioning to allow those arteries to twist. I'm going to defer this one to David. David, how would you, Sinak is asking, how would you recognise this one as opposed to a Cape eagle owl? Is that a species you're familiar with? Because it's not one that I know very well.
It's by habitat. The spotted eagle owls likes to be more in the, like now, the ravines where there's banks where they're able to nest on, whereas the Cape eagle owl likes to be more in the cliffs, high cliffs and rocky outcrop. That's where they nest from. Also the color of the eye, or the Cape eagle owl has got a bright reddish eye as compared to the spotted eagle owl. But the habitat is what separates them.
Because we don't get Cape eagle owl in this area either, do we? Isn't it more of a... I don't remember. The only place I've ever seen them is in and around Joburg, strangely.
Okay, there is a small population up in Dalstroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that helps. But yes, they are quite similar. So there you go. Eye colour and habitat are your main features to look for. Size-wise, they're about the same, huh? Or is this one slightly bigger?
About the same. The other one is more rich reddish colour, or rich brown. Rich brown.
Yeah, you see, this one is perfect camouflage, and you see, this youngster will develop those feathers. I'm not quite sure how long until it's sort of fully fledged and has adult plumage. Any idea, David? We might be able to find out, but do you know?
Yeah, it's bird of prey. Takes up to 3.5 months to 4 for them to be matured.
And in terms of their coloration as well, will they develop that sort of adult coloration after that time, or will that take a little bit longer?
No, by the time they leave the parents, they should have developed that. So they will not have the eye color to show the youngness of the bird, so that it still need to be fed until it develops all those colors and plumage in the eyes and the plumage. Then is when they leave the nest.
Right.
So 3.5 to 4 months.
So a little way for this youngster to go now. I wonder if it's catching anything on its own yet. It's probably still a bit early. I can sort of imagine it chasing after things and trying to stamp on things, I would think, at this age.
Yeah.
But I had looked through the binoculars and those claws do look razor sharp already. Because I'm also looking for any pellets. I don't see any pellets here, but there must be plenty, because the wigs do like this nest, and I'm sure if, obviously we're not going to disturb them, but if we went and had a scratch around underneath these trees, I'm sure we'd see plenty of owl pellets. So when they eat their food, they will then regurgitate all the bits they don't want to eat, so all the fur or feathers, the little bones. And it's amazing how they do it. They produce this, I suppose it almost looks a little bit like a moth cocoon or something, and it's all the sharp stuff is in the middle, and then towards on the outside is all the softer material, so it doesn't damage the larynx when it's on its way up, or the esophagus. Okay, I see we have another car approaching us up the drainage line, so we're going to have to make some space for them. But I'm very glad that we managed to find you at least one wiglet, and let's hope that the other one is okay. All right, I think we're going to leave the wiglets and see what else we can find. Let's send you over to Lauren, who I think has got something a little bit bigger.